Today we have a long and emotional story to help you practice simple English. My name is Lena. I am 20 years old. I live in a city called Greenwood. It is not a very big city, but it is busy and full of students because there is a large university here. I am a second-year university student. I study English literature because I love reading books and stories. One day, I hope to become a teacher. I live with my older sister, Sarah. She is the most important person in my life. When I was 10 years old, my parents died in a car accident. That day changed everything in our lives. I was still a little girl, and I did not understand why something so terrible happened. After that day, Sarah became my whole world. She was only 24 years old at that time, but she worked very hard to take care of me. She helped me with my homework, cooked food for me, and comforted me when I cried at night. She was not only my sister, she was like my mother, my protector, and my best friend. Because of her love and support, I was able to continue my studies and build my life again. Sarah is a very smart and strong woman. She works as a history teacher at the university. Her students respect her because she explains things clearly and always helps them understand difficult topics. Many people say she is one of the best teachers in the university. A few years ago, Sarah married Dr. Mark Lewis. Mark is also a teacher at the same university. He teaches psychology. He speaks slowly and politely. He always smiles when he talks to people. Many students admire him. When people see Sarah and Mark together, they often say, "They are such a wonderful couple." Sarah trusted him completely. Their marriage looked perfect. But sometimes, what we see on the outside is not the truth. At first, I also believed Mark was a good man. But slowly, something started to feel strange. Sometimes I noticed the way he looked at me. His eyes stayed on me for too long. It made me feel uncomfortable. I tried to ignore it. I told myself, he is my sister's husband. Maybe I am just imagining things. So I stayed quiet. One evening I was sitting on my bed and reading a book for my class. My room was quiet, and the window was open. I could hear the sound of cars outside. Suddenly, my phone vibrated. I looked at the screen. It was a message from Mark. The message said, "You looked very beautiful today." I felt surprised and confused. Why would my sister's husband send me a message like that? Maybe it was a mistake, I thought. So I did not reply. But after a few minutes, another message came. "I cannot stop thinking about you." My heart started beating very fast. I felt nervous and scared. I still did not answer. The next day, after my class finished, I walked out of the classroom. When I looked up, I saw Mark standing near the door. He smiled at me and said softly, "Hello, Lena." I tried to stay calm. Then he said, "You looked really nice in class today." I felt very uncomfortable. I did not know what to say, so I quickly walked away. After that day, strange things started happening. Sometimes flowers appeared at my apartment door. There was no name on the card, but I knew they were from Mark. Sometimes he waited near my car in the parking area. Sometimes he walked behind me across the campus. One day he stopped me near the library and said quietly, "You are young and beautiful. Every time I see you, I like you more." His words made me feel sick inside. I ran to the bathroom and started crying. I felt confused, scared, and very sad. I loved my sister more than anyone in the world. She gave me everything after our parents died. How could I tell her something that might destroy her marriage? So I stayed silent. But Mark did not stop. One afternoon, he stood in front of me and said, "You must accept my love. I do not care that you are Sarah's sister." When I heard those words, I felt shocked. I knew this situation was very wrong. Finally, I decided that I should tell my sister the truth. One evening, I went to Sarah's house. My hands were shaking because I was very nervous. When she opened the door, she smiled warmly and hugged me. We sat down in the living room. I wanted to speak, but before I could say anything, she looked very happy and said, "Lena, I have wonderful news." I looked at her and asked, "What is it?" She smiled and said, "Mark and I are trying to have a baby. We started IVF treatment. I hope I become a mother soon." When I heard this, my heart became very heavy. Sarah looked so happy and hopeful. I could not destroy that happiness. So I stayed silent. I went home that night, feeling lost and sad. A few days later, it was late evening. I was sitting in my room and studying. Suddenly, I heard a knock on the door. I walked slowly to the door and opened it. When I saw who it was, I felt shocked. It was Mark. I immediately asked, "Why are you here?" He stepped closer and said, "I came to see you. I love you." His eyes looked strange. He said again, "You are the woman I really want." I felt very scared. Then he tried to grab my hand. I quickly moved away and shouted, "Leave now or I will call the police." He looked frightened. Without saying anything more, he quickly walked away. I closed the door and locked it. Then I sat on the floor and cried for a long time. That night, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about everything. Finally, I understood something important. My sister deserved to know the truth. The next morning, I went to Sarah's house again. I said softly, "Sarah, I need to tell you something important. Please listen to me." Then I told her everything. I told her about the messages. I told her about the flowers. I told her about what happened the night he came to my apartment. But when I finished speaking, Sarah looked very angry. Her face became red. She shouted, "Stop lying!" I felt shocked. She continued shouting, "You are jealous! You want to destroy my marriage!" I tried to explain. "No, Sarah. I stayed silent for a long time because I did not want to hurt you." But she did not listen. Suddenly, she slapped me across the face. Then she said something that broke my heart. "You are not my sister anymore. You are a liar." Tears filled my eyes. I said quietly, "Please believe me. I did nothing wrong." But she opened the door and pointed outside. "Leave my house. Do not come back." I walked away, crying. Soon after, my phone rang. It was my close friend Emma. She sounded upset. She said, "Lena, what did you do? Sarah is crying. Mark told everyone you tried to break their marriage." I felt like the world stopped. Now everyone believed his lie. I stayed alone in my room for many days. I stopped going to class. I stopped answering phone calls. Every night I cried. But one night, I finally made a decision. I wiped my tears and said, "I will not stay silent anymore." I opened my phone and collected all the messages Mark sent to me. Then I printed them. The next morning, I went to the university office. My voice was shaking, but I said, "Professor Mark Lewis is sending me inappropriate messages. I have proof." The office staff read the messages carefully. After some time, one woman said, "This is very serious. We will investigate." A few days later, they called me again. They said, "Lena, thank you for your courage. We believe you." They also called Sarah and showed her the messages. When Sarah read them, her hands started shaking. Her face became pale. She realized the truth. That night she came to my apartment. Her eyes were red because she had been crying. She said softly, "Lena, I am so sorry. I did not believe you. I hurt you." I also started crying. We hugged each other tightly. Later, Sarah decided to divorce Mark. She told him, "You betrayed me and hurt my sister. I cannot stay with a man like you." After some time, our lives slowly became peaceful again. Sarah and I stayed together and supported each other. Our bond became even stronger than before. This story teaches us something very important. Sometimes people may not believe the truth at first, but the truth always comes out in the end. If someone makes you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, do not stay silent. Speak up. Ask for help. Because your voice and your truth are important. Subscribe for more such stories.